Hey guys, welcome back. BDCKR here. We're back with our weekly recap of all things Injustice. This is for the week of August 8th, 2024. The current character challenge is Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan. That is a 1 week repeat. The required characters for that are Nightwing, Green Lantern, and Black Adam. And you can get Nightwing and Green Lantern as low as bronze directly in the store, and Black Adam as low as silver directly in the store.
Right.
His passive is Instilling Fear, which is if an opponent tags out, Yellow Lantern steals 25% of his power and steals an additional 20% from other lanterns. All enemy lanterns receive 10% more damage from Yellow Lantern. He's got 1,400 attack, 1,300 health, and was last available in 2020. So it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been more than 4 years.
Right.
Yeah.
So he's got really good high stats. We actually reviewed him during our Season 11 Q&A just as recently as March. And not much has changed since then. Like I said, good high stats. It's a shame that his passive, the most useful part of his passive requires the opponent to tag out. So if you're a real player, you'll tag out lots. Mm-hmm. An opponent controlled by the AI will tag out a lot less often, and knockouts don't count.
Yeah, and sort of the second sad thing is that so much of his passive requires the enemy team to have a Green Lantern or a Lantern character.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
which it just isn't common enough for it to really make a difference.
Right, 2/3 of it. So now doing an extra 10% anytime against a Lantern, yeah, it's all right. There's not enough Lantern skins.
Yeah.
That's really it.
And 10% isn't good enough, right?
Yeah.
If it was like double damage, for example, that would be good enough that it would feel really good when it happened.
Yeah.
But 10%, you can get more than 10% from a damage for whatever your main source of damage is very easily from a lot of different places. Yeah.
So when we look at him as the main damage dealer, because let's face it, he's not going to be much for support. If he's going to be there, he should be contributing. So his special 2 is the big one. It's got 3 hits. They are equal parts of the total damage. So what's really interesting about his special 2 is that the animation for the first part of his special 2 is inconspicuous. It is not ranged, so it often will miss, and it's easy not to notice it because it's the upswing where if they're not blocking, it'll smack them, and then he slams down. If he's too far away, no damage registers, but it almost looks like it's the beginning of animation, not actually part of the damage. So you don't even realize how much damage you've lost until you don't knock out the opponent like you expect. Mm-hmm. So I think, based on what I've seen, they're all each of the 3 hits is about the same damage, and it's hard to get all 3 hits on one character. But the first 2 hits are about the same, and the third hit is the same as the first hit when the minigame value is the same.
Yeah.
So there's really it's a funky, really tight spacing between the hits. So it feels like there's a bit of randomness. If the opponent is knocked out before the last hit, whether the next hit will make contact with the opponent who's coming in.
Yeah.
And most of the time the answer is no, but what's weird is every once in a while we've seen examples where his special 2 knocks out all 3 opponents in one go.
I wonder if that has to do with like the enemy character speed. Like if they're a slower character like Solomon Grundy, it'll miss, but if they're like all faster characters that they actually physically come in faster. Like I don't know, that total conjecture, right? Because I don't know.
Right.
But I would hope that it's not just totally random, right? You would imagine that there's some sort of pattern that you could determine, but we don't know it, certainly, if there is one.
Right. So in his basics, what's interesting for the tap combo ender, he's got a 2-hit tap combo ender. And I guess the other thing is that he does reduce damage on a special 1 for damage over time bleed.
Yeah.
I mean, that's relevant. If there's some loadouts where you really want somebody who does a lot of damage over time. I mean, damage over time is the great equalizer. Mm-hmm. It lets you hit above your weight class when you do that. So
Yeah, so in our alternating cycle of characters that have been out of the cycle for a while and sort of layered in like alternating weeks with the original cycle, we are back in sort of new character territory, old new character territory.
Right.
And next week should be the one from the traditional cycle, so we expect to see Martian Manhunter next week.
Right.
And we're a lot more confident about that than we are about the guesses at who the new person's going to be.
And we're down to 15 missing challenge characters.
Yeah, not bad.
Nice.
This week's multiplayer reward is the Soultaker sword, which becomes it's Ancient Katana, which becomes a Soultaker sword.
Right.
Yeah. And when it's maxed out, it gives you a 30% unblockable chance on basic attacks, a 50% life drain chance on special 2, and its evolved ability, which will give you up to a 15% damage drain from defeated enemies, which stacks twice. It was last available on the 28th of December, 2023. We are years into this pattern. Next week, we expect to see metahuman Flash.
Right. So it's funny that they have to tell you that the damage rate stacks twice when I don't think there are any fights where you face more than 3 characters.
That's not true with summons, right? But summons don't actually work with it, right?
Yeah. That's
so
true.
It's one of those things where, like Aquaman summoning Atlantean Hero over and over again, right?
That's true.
But
I forgot about that.
That's such an edge case that it does feel almost like unnecessary to talk about it. Or which one of the Jokers am I thinking about? It's not Killing Joke.
For which?
It's one of the Suicide Squad Jokers,
Unhinged.
right?
It's the
Unhinged. Yeah.
So this is a good piece of legendary gear. The damage drain is the main one that makes it legendary, right? It's a unique ability, can be really useful and almost irreplaceable during the later stages of Survivor when the opponents have a huge damage stat, and draining it makes a big difference.
Because what you really care about it for is uneven fights, right? This is an equalizer gear.
Yeah. So it's a strategy for scaling up to a stronger opponent, much like damage over time. And so you see some of the newer strategies for finishing Survivor where people take advantage of Aquaman's Atlantean Hero and stacking damage over time. And that works fine until you have either Special 1 or Special 2 disabled. But Soultaker Sword, it might still be the single most important gear if you want to get past those late stages in Survivor. Besides damage over time, right? Again, what you're looking for is something that scales up. So outside of Survivor, it's a decent gear. It's good gear, but definitely not that legendary. So the other abilities, unblockable chance is good. The only other gear that offers unblockable chance to all characters, other gears, not other gear. A massive sharpened teeth with 20% chance, custom rifle, which is only 11%. So this is better, even though there are character specific signature gears like Doomsday's Bone Spikes, Solomon Grundy's Knife Collection, Flash's Hyper Speed Plated Suit, Nightwing's the Eskrima Sticks, and Martian Manhunter's Martian Hunter Garb. So they all offer a decent unblockable chance, but they're all character specific, right? So it's interesting. It's not great, mainly because basic damage attack isn't really that important in the current game meta, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Yeah, for sure.
Life drain on Special 2 is only 50% chance, which is half as good as Lexicor Chestplate, which is 100% chance.
Yeah.
So the reason why the damage drain matters a lot less outside of Survivor is it doesn't make much difference against opponents that have damage that's close to yours.
Yeah, even when they're better than you, if you're, for example, in the late stage of a ladder, an ultimate ladder, they're not that much better than you that 15% chance is worth all the extra work of sort of making sure that you're the person to knock them out.
Right. And then the other two abilities just aren't attractive enough to really prioritize one of our 9 gear slots. So the reason why damage drain is not that useful in regular play is how closely you are matched your opponents, right? So if it's only 15% for each defeated enemy, at most 2 enemies, so 30% of any enemy that likely has similar stats.
And you need to be down to the last person in the fight to even get that benefit.
Right. And that's nothing compared to, say, a 70% basic damage boost or one of the 20% special boost that you get from
right away.
Iva Stick. Right. Yeah. And damage boost across the board for basic and specials from the Soultaker Sword. I mean, it definitely better than just either basic damage boost or special damage boost, but the amount is just not enough.
Yeah.
And it's hard to have one character optimized for both basic damage and specials damage, that this difference of boosting both types of damage is useful. So if their damage is a lot more than yours, the chance of you being able to use the one guy with the Soultaker Sword to knock them out is pretty small. It's worth the effort when you're trying to get through late stages of Survivor, because it is just a lot of work.
Yeah.
And if you're putting in that time, then it makes sense that you, in the middle of the fight, you're struggling anyways. It's not going to be fast, but then you can really enhance one of the characters with Soultaker Sword.
Yeah. So the gear is definitely, it's really useful, but it has a very, very narrow sort of use case.
Where it's great. in that one specific case.
Moving on. In the store, we have the Blackest Night Martian Manhunter Challenge Pack, which is actually one of the characters that's listed in the odds of the regular challenge pack.
So normally we have to make a guess, right?
Yeah.
That we make inferences.
That every challenge character is a 2.86% chance, just because the numbers work that way.
But in this case, it literally is, and we know that. And the special pack is a 6.16% chance.
Yeah, so it costs 200,000 power credits. It is not worth it unless you were trying to sell back basically every other character you get. We ran the numbers. If you need just Martian Manhunter and like one other person, that is like the only real case, or just Martian Manhunter, that you want to actually buy this pack. If you're going to keep more than like 3 or 4 people, then you should just buy the regular challenge pack.
So, and the literal characters, not a corroborate included next week's challenge if you just look at the, that particular skin.
Yeah, because Blackest Night Martian Manhunter we don't expect.
But it is an indirect clue. There is no Martian Manhunter pack, at least the Martian Manhunter Prime pack. So this has been the previous stand-in the week before Martian Manhunter's challenge that happened 2023, 2022, and 2021, that it was always the week before there would be the Blackest Night Martian Manhunter Challenge Pack before Martian Manhunter Prime showed up.
Yeah, so there we go. We have the character bundle Arkham Allies, which is in for its second week. And new, we have the Red Sun Pack 2. That is $24.99 Canadian, all prices in Canadian, because that's where we are, so that's the info we have.
And that's the only currency that matters.
Yeah. So it comes with 3 out of the 6 Red Suns, with a 16% chance for 5 of them. Those 5 are Superman, Wonder Woman, Batman, Deathstroke, and Green Lantern.
All right, so what's funny is, so we know there's 6 Red Sun characters. 5 times 16% is 80. So now you get one character who's going to have an extra 20%.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be?
It's the worst one. It's Solomon Grundy, who gets the extra 4% chance.
Yeah.
So yeah, he's at 20%. There we go. Moving on.
So we'll skip through all those other packs that have been there for a few years.
Mm-hmm. In the same way that we don't mention the gold pack.
Yeah.
Phantom Zone has 1 more week left. Fight 62 is still broken. Last weekend's breakthrough for golds was Zatanna, Flash, and Solomon Grundy, so this coming weekend's should be Raven, Superman, and the Arkham Knight. There is a link in the description to a thread with the complete breakthrough cycle from Reddit user and moderator of the Injustice Mobile subreddit, Devlin16, if you want to check that out for yourself.
Okay, and this is where we would go into more detail about current glitches
or any changes.
If something had happened or something had changed and didn't happen this week. But even if nothing changes, we still do a more detailed review once a month, the first week of every month. Most recently, that was last week, our recap from August the 1st.
Yeah.
You can also see a video tutorial for every working glitch in our playlist, Current Working Glitches, linked in the description of this video and in the eye in the top right corner. The main thing worth mentioning is that the challenge reset glitch has been confirmed to be working on this week's Yellow Lantern Hal Jordan challenge.
So there we go. And to finish up, we'd like to give a huge thank you to all of our lovely patrons on Patreon. People who have decided to support what we do financially, which is, I say it often, but always surprising and super pleasant and gives me a nice warm fuzzies. So I'd like to give a huge and genuine thank you to Michael Devries, Irvin Ruiz, Hoshi127, Nora Klimek, and Paolo-Cesar-Pablo-Juan, who are supporting us on the credited level, and also 5x5 supporting us on the gratitude level. And I would like to give a just as genuine, but slightly less warm and fuzzy, and well, it's less directed, because I don't really I know you specifically, but to anybody who's watching the video, and then a slightly more directed one to people who engage, especially in comments directly, because, we do notice when people hang around and have a back and forth with us on a semi-regular basis.
Backs and forths, or is it back and forths?
Yeah, the grammar really tripped me
phrase?
up. I don't know. It's been a long day. Anyways, but yeah, so a huge thank you to all those folks, and we'll see you next time. Komoda.